Portuguese started bringing African slaves into the Caribbean was in the 16th century, and they were, as Professor Moreno said, they were being brought in to work in the sugar plantations and other types of manual labor, and to work in the land.
So, of course, many of them came from Africa, and so we have a couple different maps for you. So this one is just the routes of the slave trade, and where they went. A lot of them went to Brazil, but then you have a good portion of them going to the Caribbean, and also parts of Central America and Mexico and whatnot. But when we think of Latin Afro music, a lot of us think of the Caribbean Isles and Brazil.
And since we're talking about Bomba Plena, which is mainly focused in the Caribbean, these are some of the islands in the Caribbean. Bomba Plena originates from Puerto Rico, so you can see it.
It's like the dance of Puerto Rico. So how you have like other countries like have their style of dance, Bomba Plena is basically Puerto Rico.
But obviously other islands in the Caribbean have influence from all these African slaves, such as Professor Moreno in Haiti, Dominican Republic, Cuba, and all the smaller islands like Barbados, Antigua, St. Martin, and the Virgin Islands. Bomba Plena was started, bomba. There's two parts of the name of the music. Bomba refers to, it's a metaphor for the drums used in the music, and it started around the 17th century in Mayagüez, Puerto Rico.
And bomba is all heavily the African part, the African influence of it. And then we have plena, which is the Spanish influence, which comes into more of the instruments and the dress and the lyrics. So it's a fusion of African and Spanish cultures into music.
So as the African slaves, they started doing the bombas. They started to sing because they were enslaved. They didn't have any other way of releasing. They couldn't escape. They couldn't do anything much else. So they started to sing to speak of their heart, their sorrows, and speak of what they were going through. So, and they would play the drums, and they would. I guess Juliana found some interesting information how Bomba Plena. Plena means like fully, plenamente, and they were saying how they would dance under the moonlight, like the full moon, just to the rhythm of the drums. Yeah. And as we said, it's a mixture of Africa, Spain, and the Taínos, which were the indigenous people of Puerto Rico, and it's mainly based off drum percussion, and just dancing with the rhythm. So this is a picture of one of the drums that is mainly used in Bomba Plena. In Spanish, it's called the tambor. They don't originally start with these types of instruments, which are called the guiro, but nowadays, yeah, that one is very influenced. It gives the music a little bit more of a tune, I guess.
Texturizing of it.
And here you can see some of the African vestment and attire they use while they dance, which is very colorful, but white at the same time, with really long skirts, and the women dance.
Flowers, and they'll use it almost like, imagine like a scarf, like they'll be twirling their skirt like this and dancing a lot, pounding with the feet, with the arms, with the hips, basically like a full body shake and high energy.
And these Bomba Plena today, these are pictures from recent festivals in Puerto Rico. The bottom one, it was like an African festival, like embracing the African heritage in Puerto Rico. The middle one is, they're called pleneros nowadays, and they just play the pandero, which is that instrument right there. And
tambourine kind of.
Yeah, and they just sing. They have lyrics. It's very spoken, but it all rhymes, and it's very typical, very Puerto Rican. And you see the men in the middle, they are pleneros, which we said plena is more Spain. So you can see in their attire as well, they dress more, as a contrast to the women, they dress more like Spanish influence. And the other photo is my dad. And we have a video for you guys. It's pretty old, but I thought it was great. It explains.
Okay, everybody, let's do the bomba. Bámbula ese allá se está contigo nomás.
Bámbula ese allá.
Conmigo
Eso
es
es sabroso. Bámbula ese allá.
se está contigo nomás.
Bámbula ese allá.
Puerto Rico te voy a cantar.
Bámbula ese allá.
Que Roberto te va a bailar.
Bámbula ese allá.
La bomba rica de Puerto Rico.
Bámbula ese allá.
Se está contigo nomás. Ay, baila conmigo este clásico. Ay, baila, baila que me el tambor. Qué lindo, lindo te va bailando. Y los muchachos te van cantando. Ay, se está contigo nomás. Ay, se está contigo nomás. Ay, baila contigo este clásico. Ay, bámbula ese allá. Ay, bámbula ese allá.
Samba dancing is a Puerto Rican dance that came from Africa. Not only do the people dance with each other, they dance with the drum. Watch.
Que bailen los niños, que bailen los niños, bacoso, que bailen los niños.
Bailen los niños, que bailen los niños, que bailen los niños, que bailen los niños.
¡Bamba!
¡Oh! ¡Siga, sabroso! ¡Eso, ahí, ahí está! ¡Suba! ¡Viva!
Que bailen los niños, que bailen los
¡Oh,
niños,
ahí!
que bailen los niños,
¡Oh,
bacoso,
sabrosito!
que bailen los niños.
Que bailen los niños, que bailen los niños, que bailen los niños, a gozo, que bailen los niños.
¡Bamba!
¡Oh! ¡Oh, ahí está! Ahí está. Caliente, caliente, ahí. Caliente, ahí. Ay, ahí. Suba, ahí.
Que bailen los niños, que bailen los niños,
Eso es
que
sabroso.
bailen los niños, bacoso, que bailen los niños.
Que bailen los niños, que bailen los niños, que bailen los niños, a gozo, que bailen los niños.
¡Bamba!
Ahí, ahí.
Que bailen los niños, que bailen los niños, que bailen los niños, bacoso, que bailen los niños.
Que bailen los niños, que bailen los niños, que bailen los niños, a gozo, que bailen los niños.
¡Bamba!
Ahora, Julita. Sentimiento. Mucho caché. Así nada más. Ahí ya. Venga, ahí. Oh, oh, ahí, Julita. Matica, matica. Oh. Ahí.
Que bailen,
Suba ahí.
que bailen los niños, que bailen los niños, que bailen los niños, bacoso, que bailen los niños.
Que bailen los niños, que bailen los niños, que bailen los niños, a gozo, que bailen los niños.
¡Bamba!
¡Suba ahí! ¡Oh! ¡Ahí! ¡Ahí! ¡Vamos! ¡Candela!
pleneros de la 21. These are our friends Gina and Savion.
Oh, hello. Hi, Gina. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, you know, and they play bombas and planes from Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
You could have danced too, Savion. Savion's such a great dancer.
Yeah.
What are we waiting for then? Let's do one last plena.
You can do that? I mean, without your costumes?
Of course we can. Vaya, Carlos.
Vaya.
Oh, boy.
The rhythm that we just heard with the bomba, bomba has 3 different styles. The first one is called sika, and that rhythm is very, very close. It's this rhythm here. Which is not that far off from. Okay, so what we try to do as a drum set artist, we have all different sound timbres. We have high notes, we have low notes, and we try to get these rhythms to kind of represent the different drums and the different sounds of the music styles from the different countries. Like as you saw, there's a gourd, so a gourd could maybe be played with a hi-hat. So a drum set version of sika, bomba, could be this. There's a different thing that can also happen too, is you can kind of reference different rhythms out of that with different ostinatos and such. And again, that rhythm is prevalent, and so on. So very closely tied into the African thing, obviously. The other real similarity between the second style of bomba is called yuba, Y-U-B-A. And that's a 6/8 rhythm. So an African groove that came out of the 6/8 style sounds like this. That's different. Instead of just going bop, 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 you have the 3 thing going there. So now, yuba. Okay, so that, now you can try to remember what I just played for the African rhythm, which is just a regular, basic 6/8 African rhythm. Yuba is this rhythm right here. Which is very hip. Now, a merengue is probably the least adaptable groove for improvisation on drum set because it's so drum-based and so driving. It's a very intense driving groove, and it's a dupa-based, and it's repetitive, and it goes like this. Here's your pulse. Sometimes they play it very fast. And you know, maybe a drum set variation or an adaptation to that could be something like this. So now the Hollandaise last style of the bomba. This is this rhythm right here. Now with jazz and Latin, everything gets merged together. Someone could say, Chris, I like that a lot, but could you kind of tie in a merengue with that? Sure, no problem. Really, the only difference is the syncopated ride cymbal thing with the Hollandaise. Other than that, it can kind of just go right along its way, kind of with an African sounding groove. All right, so now the plainer. Okay, it's a funny thing because in Brazil, we have a thing that's called samba, and I'll get to that in a second. Samba and plainer have two different feels, but it's kind of the same thing. The plainer starts with a nice open tone, and actually if you had like a hand drum, you would play it like this. You would mute the second one, it would go like this. So they're giving it to you right up front. They're like, okay? And they have different instruments, different panderos and whatnot, which is just like little mini tambourines. Sometimes they have shakers on them and whatnot, little metal rings. And they have different counter rhythms that go against that fundamental opening. So what I could do to kind of demonstrate a plainer with a nice open groove with the bass drum, I'd get something going like this, right? We always have that right up front, which is a powerful form of expression. And again, the common theme is it's dance music. It's supposed to be very, very strong. Going over to the land of Brazil, what the people of Brazil did to put their own stamp and a little twist on it was they said, nah, man, we're going to actually do the accent on the offbeat. So we're going to do this. We're going to go, samba, there's different things that come into play too, which I really don't have too much time because I want to move along here to get you to Cuba, the thing too, is you have different claves. Like a bossa nova clave is boom, bop, dee, bop, dee, bop, 4, 1, 2, 3, But you know, between all the different countries, there's little twists on the claves too. They're not quite the same, okay? All right, so, and obviously there's different styles in Brazil. Actually, there's the baião, which is a beautiful groove, and Santana is the American artist that made it very popular, and it sounds like this. Well, I'll play a rock version of a baião. You know, I'm thinking of tunes that he did. He's done a bunch of them. Great stuff. But in its pure form, a baião would sound like this. And the thing is, too, what you want to do as a drum set artist, and obviously with the music that from all these different countries too, is the bass drum rhythm. Sure, it's this, but you don't want it to sound all the same volume. You have to have a little bit of nuance with it. So that's why if you listen and pay attention to the bass drum and listen to that, I try to vary it a little bit and accent it. Okay, all right. So now moving over to Cuba. So the Cuban song, I think that it may have been the 30s or the 40s. It's basically kind of the same today. There's some different offshoot grooves. There's like a popular groove over there called timba, which I don't have to play for you. I want to play the authentic thing first. So at any rate, the main difference between, which is totally hip with Cuba, right? Instead of having it be strong on the downbeat, like the plainer, or strong on the backbeat, like with the samba, they have this thing that's called tumbao, which really means anticipated bass. So here's your fundamental groove. E, 4. Now, tumbao is this. Where samba is that. Or plainer. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now, tumbao, anticipated, means it's just ahead of the normal thing that we were just dealing with the samba, right? Okay. This is what it sounds like with the tumbao. 1, 2. Kind of, actually that's a songo from Cuba, which is kind of a good strong groove for a dancing group. Maybe some of the more Latin jazz guys might want to play a more convoluted, syncopated groove. Still with the tumbao. 1, 2, and then actually the tumbao can actually just be, which is my favorite way to play it, just one good old strike, just one note per bar. 1, 2. It's a great enhancement. And is it strong? Yeah, of course. It's just anticipated. It's just a little bit different. And there's all these different rhythms. So I played a little bit of clave, a Cuban clave with the snare drum. This rhythm up here is called cascara. That would be played with a gourd or some sort of shaker instrument from Cuba. And this is what, played a little slower. The Cuba thing came out of like Spanish guitar, and again, mostly these rhythms came from West Africa. Ghana is where a lot of this stuff was created.
Mix was created by Godishuo, which is one of our Haitian, one of the big artists in Haiti, and he basically did a mix which combines Igbo and Contredanse, which we'll be teaching you along with our group, and he also combined that rhythm with techno. So we're just going to do a short piece, and all of our moves will be repeated 8 times, so you guys can catch on to it when I be teaching it. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Got it? Let's go again. 5, 6, 7, 8. Enter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then you're gonna put your hands down. You're gonna open, roll your neck, close. Now, open, roll your neck, and close. But you have to bend over. Now, push it out. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright, after that, we're gonna do the elbow. 1, like you were. Please, please, and close. Got it? Let's go again. What's the first step? Thank you, good student. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold your wrists. And not up. And like this. Yes, like that. Let's go again. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. After that, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we go 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6. A little drop to the back. 7 and 8. Yes. Let's go. 5, 6, 7, 8 without this. 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6. A little drop. 7 and 8. With music.